All right.
Dude, the size of this SD card's huge because I only have micro SD cards at home.
Micro SDs can go up to like 30, 60, something
64,
like that.
yeah. What's the point of this huge thing? It's only 16.
Yeah, you guys are right. It's just a matter of how they're formatted.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I
As
don't
long as
know.
you can hear me, Adam. Alright.
Yeah, I mean, let's go.
When you guys split the earbuds.
No, it's alright.
Why, you don't like?
Nah.
Nah. I can hear you fine. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, it's been a while.
It has. It's definitely been more than a week, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Chris was on that trip to
How was it?
Singapore and Ho Chi Minh. It was good, man. I went to coach a fighter. She lost.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's alright. And then I went to visit a couple friends in Ho Chi Minh. Man, Vietnam is, I'm telling you, man, it is the next hot spot.
Wait, I thought you went to Singapore.
I did. Singapore for
Oh, and then you went to
6
Vietnam?
days. Yeah. That's how I met our cousin. Well, we were
Right.
And our aunt and uncle.
Huh?
Huh? Yeah.
Who's there?
Couldn't
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I
And
didn't
they're
know
like,
that.
oh, good luck, you know, good luck. So I ate with them
Of course,
twice.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vietnam, I heard. I mean, my friend was telling me, like, he's like, yo, you want to get rich, go to Vietnam and then real estate or some shit.
Yeah,
was like,
I don't
I
know
have
the
no
rules
money for
how to
that,
do
bro.
but there are a lot of Korean like restaurant businesses popping up.
Right, right.
how many days in Ho Chi Minh?
3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I flew out like super early Monday.
Oh, that's a good trip.
Yeah.
Singapore. So you were away from all the dust and cold.
She got
it's-
dusty as fucking here, bro.
I heard, man. I mean, it was
Alarm
when
every
I got-
day.
Yeah, dude. It was-
It's consecutive days of like black.
Yeah.
Like the hazard mask is
Right.
the worst signal,
Yeah.
right? In terms
Yeah.
of the quality, and it was just nonstop, 24 hours
The
black.
sky is like
Black.
gray, just white.
yeah, I also heard or like as soon as I got back, man, both my eyes were just like burning,
Yeah, my eyes are burning right now.
constantly itching. Yeah, crazy.
Well, I mean, before we start, just some sponsor announcements.
Yeah.
You got lucky, yeah.
What happened?
So yeah, I just wanted to toss out.
Didn't know we got sponsored.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of sponsor?
Well,
This coffee shop?
No, yeah, actually,
I figured.
it's
'Cause-
El Pino. Well, El Pino is a Mexican restaurant. El Pino 323. They're in Itaewon or Gyeonggi-dan. So
Yep.
since some of our listeners, actually a lot of our listeners are based abroad. If you ever visit Korea, check them out. Really good, authentic Mexican food.
Exactly.
The
And then-
locals, check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
locals too, for sure. I think it's the best Mexican food in Korea.
Locals?
Locals, like the locals.
The local people.
Because they're saying
locals.
it's like
Yeah,
visitors comes.
Not
Oh,
like
okay.
local.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
thought because that's a barbecue joint.
Yeah,
Locals,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not a sponsor, so
Yeah,
we don't want-
yeah.
So we'll have to edit local
Yeah.
barbecue out. Yeah. And then Milksa Coffee. They're also
Oh, I
in
better-
Itaewon.
Better hide this coffee. Oh man, my bad. You can't see this.
So
This is Nook's coffee right here.
No, they have some good stuff. Milksa Coffee, and you guys, we've all drank there before, right?
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah, I've been there before.
And I highly recommend their caramel macchiato frap, the ice blend.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, super addicting.
With the chocolate chips?
Oh yeah, the Oreo cookies.
Right, right.
And then last but not least, the Korea Tourism Board. Korea Tourism Board.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so english.visitkorea.or.kr. So has a lot of stuff, a lot of information, attractions, travel, transportations, accommodations, you name it. They have a pretty good summary of how to enjoy your Korea experience.
And for future sponsors, if you want to, yeah, like Nike, Adidas, any of you big folks that want a little piece of this, you can call me.
All right, so should we get started? We probably have a lot to talk about, right?
I think so.
K-pop. Where do we even begin? Like, I mean, I guess Derek knows where we can
Let's talk
begin.
about those boys, bro. Let's talk about those K-pop boys
The
these days.
K-pop boy bands. They're killing it, apparently.
Well, I don't know. Do you guys have like questions that, when we decided to do this topic.
What was the first group?
Perfect.
What was the first
That was
group?
one of my questions too. Yeah.
What was the first? I could tell you the first group I remember, but you probably know the first group.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the first group that I like probably know.
Right.
Versus like I've heard of all the old ones. I
Right.
just didn't follow it. So go ahead, kick it off, Dad. You're probably a historian
All right.
first.
So this is like 93 or 94, right? Early mid 90s.
Yeah.
And there were friends of mine, Korean American guys from California, and they went on this summer exchange program to Yonsei University, right? So a lot of the expats who were living abroad would spend, I don't know, like 1 or 2 months out of the summer, and there's some exchange program. I'm pretty sure it still goes on, right? And so these guys come over to Korea, and then they come back home to the States, and they're telling me about their experience. And mind you, these guys didn't speak, and they still don't speak a lick of Korean, right? And they didn't know anything about Korean music, but they came back in the car, they were listening to all these like K-pop, right, at that time. So there was like this solo artist, his name, he was more like a ballad guy, named Shin Seung-hoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Seo
Mm-hmm.
right? Seo and his idol, right? There was Solid, and Solid actually, I think all of the members were from Southern California.
Wow.
Yeah, they were from USC. They went to USC, and I went to UCLA. But those were like 3 of the first kind of bands. DJ DOC. What else?
And like they're still in right now, aren't they? Like, a couple of them are doing other, like on TV shows, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously, maybe like a year or 2 later, it was like H.O.T. Shinhwa. There was also REF. These were the last 3.
REF?
You remember them?
No, I don't know the name.
I've seen them on like being mentioned on TV,
Right.
but I don't know.
What's funny is all the like acronyms what they stood for. Like, what does REF stand for? There's something ridiculous, I'm sure.
See, the worst was HOT. Do you know what this stands for?
Like high five of teenagers.
Yeah.
Come on,
What
dude.
the fuck is that? High five of teenagers?
What was God?
Oh god.
Theirs is something
I don't know.
weird too.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'll
Yeah,
look it up.
but G.O.D. was another one, right? So
That's,
the mid '90s was really
was that the start?
of the boy groups, right? Of the bands, right? And there were some female groups as well. Like it was like Cleo. There was obviously Pinkle, and Pinkle actually, I think that's really around the mid '90s, right?
Yeah.
But my first introduction to Korean music was like '94 or 5-ish, and then like literally like maybe a year or 2 after is when like H.O.T., Shinhwa, REF, Jack's Kiss, and G.O.D. and a lot of these fans would, when they go to the concert.
God.
Yeah.
If I tell you this, you're gonna be really upset. It stands for Groove Overdose.
Oh my
I
god.
never knew that.
Groove Overdose.
Wouldn't overdose be labeled
Over
as one
space
word
dose.
though? Oh my
It's
goodness.
like over the dose.
That's a
Groove-
massive dose.
groove
That is
overdose?
The worst.
Dude, that just became like,
Yeah.
damn,
That is terrible,
I
bro.
really like them, bro.
You like
Wow.
them? You like them?
I love G.O.D.
Yeah.
Every time I catch myself singing like a song, like an old song, like humming a song, it's usually G.O.D.'s.
Which song?
거짓말, I think. It's like lies.
Yeah. That was more around like 2000-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that one guy can sing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kim Tae,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big one.
Oh,
The
dude,
big
he's
one.
a good singer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's-
huge, bro.
he's
I
big.
met him before. Like,
He's like 6'5".
he's gotta be. He's like, yeah, at least.
He's tall.
He's a big guy.
And so, speaking of JYP or G.O.D., JYP was another one of the solo artists that I first got an intro to. My first introductions to K-pop, rather,
Right.
right before G.O.D. and the groups came out. So these groups started coming out, and there was Rula, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys remember Rula?
Yeah. I only know him
He's Hangmin.
because- Yeah, it's Hangmin.
Right?
The 2 guys, 2 girls.
Yeah.
There was like, I think Sharp was another like 2 guys, 2 girls.
Mm.
Um,
You know what's crazy? I remember these groups.
Do you remember them, or do you just like know them now because they're like?
No, I remember like
Okay.
watching them on TV like way
Mm.
back in the day, like Sharp. not like Lula. I think
Yeah.
I knew of Lula like after.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
Because when they, like do the flashbacks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I'm surprised it didn't go further. Like, cause I remember sitting at home watching HOT,
Right.
on like Inkigayo and shit.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it's, I forget when HOT broke up, but if you remember, Muan Tojan, Infinite
Yeah,
Challenge,
yeah.
had them come back, I think it was last year.
Yeah, like for like the 20-year thing, right?
Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, they had this kind of reunion and like a good turnout, and I was watching it, I was like, I was getting into it, right?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh man, this is kind of cool, but if you think about it, they weren't together that long, it was only a few years,
Yeah.
but within that few year period, they really kind of took over, not just Korea, but actually like little sprinkling of pockets around Asia as well, right? But yeah, so those were like kind of the
Do you think
early
they just
days.
took over because it was such a small, like, media market back then? Like, imagine, like, if NSYNC had 2 years to, like, take over, and you only had one MTV channel in America, and, like, every network station was playing them. And then, if they did a comeback, dude, it would be out of control.
Yeah, and
It's gotta be just because it's a small market, right?
And keep in mind that at that time, that first wave of the girl and boy band groups, right, the K-pop groups coming in were like, they were fresh, right? I mean, they were, I don't know how you say
It's a
it, but
new thing.
it was, and it was, at that time, it was
But it was-
terrestrial channels, and I can't remember if Mnet, I don't think Mnet was even around
I don't
then.
think so. No, yeah.
So it was like in the mid to late '90s, you had KBS, NBC, SBS, right? And plus like radio stations, like literally radio stations, right? So, yeah, I mean, to your point, there weren't much outlets, plus the fact that you had this new, fresh thing, and SM Entertainment already had like really good connections into, everybody in music, right? Like, there wasn't much competition, let's say, right? And so, yeah, I think it was a function of that and just how much exposure they got. But at the same time, they were talented. I thought they, like, all those acts that came out and that I mentioned to you, they were really talented. Like, they sing, they dance, they did the whole bit, right? So,
Yeah, it's weird that, like, being Korean Americans, that you saw them being talented. Because when I was growing up, I thought that was like, it was an embarrassment more than anything. Because I was like, they're not talented. Like the style of clothing, the dance. Because it was, for me at least, it almost seemed like a lot of the songs were also just copied straight out of
for sure.
American pop, and it was just dated. And I was like, I can't watch this stuff. That's why like my exposure to K-pop was like really delayed, because I was turned off by like the hip hop. I was turned off by the original K-pop movement, because I was like, man, this is just kind of cheesy and hokey. The dyed tips, I don't know. I just couldn't get into any of that.
Well, to your point, I wasn't as big of a fan of Sutaji as much as he was like kind of
He was the biggest thing in the world. man.
icon, right?
Yeah.
Like iconic and legendary. I think when I say talented, it's really kind of looking back at it, right? And it is not looking back at it now, but I mean, even years ago, when you kind of look back at those acts, they were fun. And for relative to Korea standards, they were fresh and new. And when you did watch them, it was like, yeah, they were talented. But to your point, there were a lot of knockoffs. And the reason why I wasn't kind of keen on Sutaji was, there were a few songs, I know one song in particular, man, he just took it from Cypress Hill.
Dude, they
right?
would just steal music.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an issue back then.
It was an
Yeah.
issue, and I think there were some other songs. There's this one God song, and the very intro, I was like, "That's Usher." Like, I was like, "Oh man, this sounds like an Usher song, right?" I forget what it is. If I listen to it, I'll just kind of catch it.
It'd be funny if it started off with Usher, Usher, Usher. Wait a minute, I know this song.
But I think like for you, Chris, and then you're kind of turned off by that, maybe a little bit cheesy and stuff. For me and my friends in LA, like mid '90s is when we were exposed to Korean nightclub, right? So it was not just the music itself, but the culture, right? The culture of the nightlife, right? And so, and then also, a bunch of my friends were actual DJs at the LA Koreatown clubs. And so, I think it was the collection of that experience that music was constantly in my ear, right? And I think that's why, like, I was a bit more receptive towards it.
They were throwing that music on at the clubs.
Well, maybe it was Korean, like Korean nightclubs.
Yeah, so the
Well,
dance
still,
music,
but like
the dance music was,
Well, you think about
G.O.D.
LA.
on at the club.
But like LA, like it wasn't LA, it was just Korea. Like it was Korean people coming to LA trying to dance to Korean music.
and the thing was, like,
Yeah.
the Korean American,
They were trying to get
Yes.
Korean girls, so it's like, I'm gonna go there.
but the Korean American kids really adopted the Korean club
That's so
scene
weird,
as well.
yeah. It's so weird that, because on the West Coast, I guess that was the case, but on the East Coast, is like, you got a lot of like Korean kids and like Korean American kids trying to assimilate
Mhm.
to Western culture, and then you would have this original, like, K-pop movement that was, like I said, a little bit embarrassing than anything. And then when you had these, like, you things, they were coming with that kind of fashion,
Right.
frosted tips and
Right.
and dude, I was just like, yo, what are you doing, man? I'm trying to assimilate. You're setting me back 5 years with your, like, what you're doing. So that's kind of why I was turned off. There's no, like, I mean, I guess I was too young. I was still in probably like middle school, high school. Yeah, like end of
Yeah.
middle school, the beginning of high school, and that was all going on. So, yeah, it was just wasn't like cool. So my sister was into it. She's 6 years younger than me, but she would be playing that stuff all the time, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very catchy because it was such a basic kind of, I guess, system.
Right.
So it's easy to get caught on a hook.
The
But,
hooks are there.
yeah, it's definitely very, like, if you listen to a children's song over and over again, you start singing it.
It's a jingle almost.
Yeah, it's a jingle. So that's what I remember sitting there in my room hearing my sister play this music. I was like, that's terrible. And afterwards, I'm kind of humming along, like, what is this? I'm like, oh shit, it's that song. Or I would hear a Korean song, and I would run over to my sister and be like, hey, they just stole this music
That's right. That's right.
from, like, I don't know, something from the 70s or the 80s. So it was pretty interesting. I wasn't a big fan. But-
Yeah, I mean, I get nostalgic. I mean, like, when I listen to it, and I think I just have that in my DNA. I'm nostalgic of, like, old school hip hop as well as like rock music in general. Right? But K-pop I'm nostalgic about that too. I think consistently over the years, Korean ballads have been really strong. I think Korean ballads are really well, like, put together. The melodies, and even if you don't understand the lyrics, the melodies, the chorus hooks, the changes, it's really nice. I think the ballads are, like, it just strikes a nerve. And even say, like, non-Koreans, before K-pop was really popular, again, this is kind of like when I was early into college, the kids who were non-Koreans were into the ballads, sometimes more so than
It's probably because there
American
wasn't
ballads.
enough, like, visuals at that time either.
visuals as in,
Like hot girls in like girl groups, because
Mhm.
like at that point you're not having YouTube to watch this stuff.
Right.
You would just listen.
right,
So if you listen to like pop music, you're like, oh, this is kind of like a crappier version of NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Mhm.
But then if you hear a ballad, you're like, oh, that's pretty good singing.
yeah,
But I would imagine, like, I think told me, like, one of your friends like saw Sister or something like that on YouTube and like, damn, what are these girls?
Yeah.
So like the
Right.
new generation is probably just like
Right.
looking at, like,
Definitely.
the image is like really strong.
it's really packaged.
Yeah, yeah.
Think about that, like, in a relatively short span of time, say, just, mark off, like, the mid-90s when the girl groups and boy groups started, to, like, say, the early 2000s and even mid-2000s. So within a 10-year span, the packaging of K-pop talent and these artists, right, got really good. And then I think the next 10 years, which we're kind of into now, the tail end of that, has gotten, like, way better. That just gotten on steroids, right? It's gotten exponential. in
Plastic
terms of-
surgery.
Yeah.
And there's
Sponsor
a
us.
lot of it. But I mean, the packaging of the K-pop brand and each of the groups and all that, it's gotten,
Do you think the the consumers for like K-pop originally, like back in the day, was more like younger female audience or younger male audience?
It was both. And you know, when you just talked about your sister, you guys have that little age gap. That was the same thing with my brother. Like we thought, you and I probably thought like, oh, there's a little bit cheesiness here. Granted, you were a little bit turned off to it. I was actually a bit more receptive to it because of the constant exposure, right? My brother, in his age different, like our age difference is kind of similar to you and your sister. Him and his friends were all in. They really loved like a lot of that, the Korean music coming out. And I don't know why it is, why that's the case, kind of generationally, right? But in any event, I mean, it was both. It was a mix of both guys, both girls, or both girls and guys who, yeah, really liked it. And again, in LA, it was the club culture, the cafe culture, in the nightlife, where the background music, our soundtrack was the Korean music, right, in K-Town. And so, yeah, it's nostalgic, it was fun, and then it's very interesting, like, since then till now, and, you know, I've worked in the Korean entertainment space, so to see the progression and evolution and the changes that happened, it's fun to watch, it's interesting to see, and I kind of dig it. I kind of dig how more popular and mainstream it's gotten. So, you know, when, not to go down this, you know, tangent, but when I was in the space working in Korean, it was kind of like bicultural entertainment. It was like, what was it? I was based in LA, and I was trying to get more exposure for Korean films, TV, and music. And at that time, which is in the late, like say 2008, 9, 10-ish, like there weren't people having it, right? The businesses that I would talk to and the partners, some of them really saw the value. Others were just kind of very lukewarm, warm and standoffish, kind of knocking it off to being, this is so ethnic, right? But then Psy comes on and boom, just busts down the doors, right? Whereas the company that I was working for, this huge conglomerate, pumping money in, trying to do whatever, you know, open up shop in LA and the US and really trying to push it, but it just took that one viral hit to really kind of open the doors more. And then obviously there was a lot more collection of cultural things from Korean barbecue to fashion to whatever, but, and drama, right, Korean drama. But something like Psy kind of brought a little bit more notice and kind of interest to what Korean culture is, right? So yeah, I mean that's my like experience, kind of seeing the progression over the years. And I don't want to go like, you know, transition periods or whatever, but I can kind of start doing that, you know, for a later discussion. But so when did you guys really get into it, or what were the first acts that you were like, so for you, Chris, it's like, hey, this is okay to listen to, and I kind of dig it, and then that kind of segued into more Korean music.
The reason I asked you about like who the consumer you think was because I was trying to think in the States, like the first, I feel like guy groups have always just been more, like if I just ask you to like name guy groups,
And
go
like
ahead,
Backstreet Boys.
keep going, even before that, what do you have?
Oh, New Edition,
Yeah, keep
New
going.
Kids on the Block.
Yeah, you can just keep rattling them off, right? It's like Boys to Men,
Boyz II Men,
whatever.
yeah.
Right.
But if I say like name American girl groups, you say Spice Girls.
Pussycat Dolls.
Like yeah, keep going.
Spice
Girls.
Destiny's Child.
Spice Girls were British, but
yeah,
yeah,
British,
girl
yeah.
grew up still.
Uh,
Destiny's Child.
That's what I'm saying. Is like,
Yeah.
in my opinion, just like you would like the original package of a group is better as a guy group because it's like your market, your like fan base that's gonna be crazy buying merchandise, following people.
is
It's gonna be female, in my opinion, younger female audience.
That's
like,
true.
You're right.
Because also like disposable, like as a parent, you're probably gonna be like, if your son's like, oh, I'm really into, I don't know, whatever, like this, because like a female, I guess, consumer will buy the Spice Girl stuff, will buy the Boyz II Men stuff, will buy the NSYNC stuff. But a male consumer is like, nah, I don't want to buy the Spice Girl stuff. I'm gonna get made fun of by my friends. I can't buy Backstreet Boys. Like Backstreet Boys is one of those things that like everybody liked, but you couldn't admit.
Did
I
you
admit it.
like Backstreet?
Oh, no, I
love
still
Backstreet.
can't admit it.
Why?
Yo, man, come on, bro. You can't say you like it. But then if you go to, but if you go to a karaoke and someone plays that, everyone grabs a mic. They're like, everyone, yeah, watch. And it's funny because everybody knows the music video. They open the jacket. So it's like one of those things where if you base it on consumerism, I feel like the male groups are always the bigger target. So when I was like over into like, I thought all the like the male like, you know, I guess for me like being a man is more like masculine, but K-pop back then was very feminine. It still
Right.
kind of is, but it's definitely gearing towards more masculinity. The guys are getting taller, you know, they still have like, they have like athletic ability now, whereas back in the day, that wasn't a thing.
Mhm.
You didn't need that. And so my first thing to like exposure of like, okay, I can listen to this was a girl group, where I was like, okay, I can get into this just because I can look at them. So before, you know, before in America, the only way you get exposure to that stuff before YouTube was you have to go to a video store and get VHS tapes of like the music award shows.
Right.
So I never watched that. Like my family would eat dinner, they'd watch that, and I just go to my room. But once, like American cable started playing Korean like entertainment stuff, there was more access to it. And like the first girl group that I can remember sitting and be like, oh okay, was Girls' Generation. Just because there's so many of them that you could actually be like, oh wow, there's a lot to look at. They're all tall, and like their song was catchy at the time. I was
One
like,
of them is bound to be like
Yeah.
around your type.
right, exactly.
Right,
Who's
yeah.
your type? Who's your type?
I don't even have a type. That's the thing. Is there's just
Or
10 of them.
Who did you like?
All of them. I mean, I can tell you who I don't like, but I don't want to say it.
Okay.
But so it was just the fact that there was a lot of girls that, and like at that age, I was probably like, I don't know, maybe 16 or 17. And I was like, I was never interested in Korean girls at the time, or even Asian girls. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, I can get into this a little bit. And then once I started to decide that I might want to move out to Korea, is when I was like, I need to practice my Korean. So I just left my TV on Mnet, because that was one of the only like channels that you can get on cable TV.
Wait a second.
You know,
So you were watching Mnet in when exactly?
probably like Mnet would like not that long ago, maybe like 23 to 26.
2000. Wait, Mnet in Korea? You were
No, in America. Before I moved out here.
That didn't launch until 2010. Because I launched that.
Yeah, so when I was 2000, yeah, 2000.
Because I'm the one who launched that.
Okay,
So I put it together. So it was
That
around
was
2010, 2011-ish.
So when I was 20, so like right before I moved here, so like 3 years prior, so 9 years ago.
Yeah, so
9 years
seriously,
ago,
it was, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
long history there, but yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Mnet was garbage at the time.
And here's
the
here's
reason
my,
it
here's my
was.
defense to that.
The reason it was because they had a 24-hour channel that ran about a 2-hour program over and over again. And I was like, God damn, this content is terrible.
Okay, I have a, in my defense, Chris, right? We were very under-resourced, but at
Yeah,
the same time,
that's it, yeah.
the person who was in charge of it was not Korean or even Asian American at the time, right? At that time, the person who was leading that charge for
It's okay. They
yeah.
identified as Asian Americans.
And there were obviously like, you know, internal kind of things happening within the company, but what I was given to work with was basically just like spatterings of this or that. And so I think like by the time you saw the channel, Chris, I had already left. And so I think you could kind of consider it like the soft launch is when I left, and then I kept repeat of a few-hour block.
Yeah.
But in their defense is they didn't have much to work with as well.
I
So
didn't even know Mnet had a channel.
Right now?
Like, yeah.
It's in the States. Oh, so like if you get a like the international package, you get like a couple of Chinese channels, and then you would get about probably like maybe 2 or 3 Korean channels. Mnet, some sort of news programming, and then like something else.
They just play like what they usually play in Mnet here.
No, it was they would just copy. So they had like some, I think he's actually a stand-up comedian now, but he's some LA guy, Korean American guy, and he was like,
PK.
yeah, that's him, yeah.
He's
They
funny
had
guy.
him, and then like I think another female. So they would just be English-speaking hosts, like
Yeah.
Korean-American hosts, in between, like every once in a while, and then they would just play essentially music videos nonstop.
Right, VJ.
Yeah.
with-
Is that like
with-
Arirang here?
Arirang, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Which is kind of like a, I don't want to call it like a lost form or something, but you don't see too much of the VJ format, right? VJ, like a video jockey.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, YouTube is. It's like you can be your own, listen to your own music, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a dying art. You know, what's your
Yeah.
first exposure?
And by the way, you gotta
HOT.
put those glasses on, man.
Oh, they were getting. It was just
Oh.
too many wires, too many cables.
So, okay, look, okay, just as a side note, I had really similar frames like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're just going really retro because you're cool enough to like pull off the little grandma, like grandparent necklace, right? The around your neck. But if you really want to be like cool, get a monocle.
Bro, that's not cool.
Get a monocle, dude. I want to see you with a monocle. It's like one more.
I like that. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get two monocles and then
Yeah.
bind it together with a nose part, and then for convenience, put it around your ear. And they call it glasses.
Yeah. So I remember, like I said, watching HOT, Jack's Kiss, SES,
Yes.
Cole when I was younger. I also remember, like, you know, in each group there's that one member you like the most.
Right. Who do you remember?
I think in HOT mine was I remember that like wasn't the most popular or something
Same.
for some reason. I think I liked Tony on the best
Yeah.
in HOT, and in Pinkle I liked Ijin.
Mhm.
And when I said I liked Ijin, like I like loved her. I had like a poster of
Poster?
her on the wall
Wow.
and shit, and like my mom and my sister were like worried, not because I was liking, you know, not because I had a poster or anything, but just because I was liking her.
Mm.
They're like, out of those four, why are you liking her?
Uh.
I'm like, she's the prettiest. They're like, oh shit, we got a problem. They're like, you know, the other three turned out to be like much more popular,
Yeah,
much more
yeah.
superstars.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck she's doing now. She's probably not even. Jack's Kiss. No, Jack's Kiss. I only knew like Eunjuan, I think. I
Yeah.
didn't really know the other guys. Who else was SES? I think I liked. No, SES. I liked the main girl. I think.
I don't know.
Eugene.
Eugene?
Yeah.
Was Eugene the main girl, or
There was-
Pada was the main
Oh,
girl?
I liked Pada.
You like
That's
Pada?
right. Yeah. Yeah. So that was my thing, and then I kept watching that on TV, and then even when I moved to the States, I would.
How
rent-
did you watch this on TV? Same like the international channel or?
No. This is in Korea.
Oh, okay.
I was watching on TV, and then when I went back to the
Oh, that's
States,
right, yeah.
I would, or not back, but you know, for the first time, I would rent those videotapes.
VHS.
VHS, yeah.
man.
Go. That was like the joy of the week, you know,
Yeah.
going to like Hanada Mart or whatever.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
H Mart and
H
then,
Mart,
and
yeah.
then like picking those VHSs, and the big thing was like X-Men at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your show. Yeah.
X-Men, yeah.
Wow, X-Men was like.
I grew
okay.
up on X-Men.
Yeah, I loved X-Men.
But you gotta think like we're everything that we watched was like delayed big time because it had
Right,
to air,
right.
Someone had to VHS
Uh-huh.
record it,
Yeah,
like, and then bring it to America.
it was very
And then it would be
delayed.
sitting on the shelf
It
because
was like a month.
yeah, like
probably.
and sometimes like the stuff that people if
Two-
it was
2
hot,
weeks.
like
2
it would be
weeks.
gone. You'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, when's that tape coming out?
Yeah.
Because I watched X-Men when I was living in New York. I had a few years in New York for grad school, and basically, yeah, like the X-Men and these things were actually probably within a day or two, like not even. I don't know how they did it, but they did it very, very quickly. But yeah.
Well, I remember mine being pretty delayed, at least like a couple of weeks.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I used to watch. I was big on Nonstop. Do you remember that show?
Yes.
Nonstop.
Yes.
Nonstop. I used to watch that. And so my sister would rent it, and I would watch it like 5 times, like the same episode. I don't know why I liked repeating, like rewatching shit, but like that's kind of how I actually learned Korean through Nonstop, and then you know I moved on to like what was that? X-Men, and there was 강호동의 연애 편지.
Yep.
There were a lot of shows like that, and then I moved on to like 무한도전,
Right.
and then you know I kept watching that. 무한도전 was like really big for me. Like, I think I learned a lot of Korean.
So because you were watching these variety shows, and obviously the guests, every
Right.
week the guests coming on were either actors, but
Hmm.
most often like kasus or singers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that kind of,
Were hot at the time.
yeah, and so that got you into their music.
Right.
And you just kind of kept up with it.
Yeah,
Were you
because they,
into any hip hop like artists?
they didn't really have hip hop artists like come on, like Drunken Tiger
Right,
would
they
have come
just
on
couldn't.
X-Men. Yeah,
They were afraid of what they're gonna say, I guess.
probably.
Not like image friendly.
Yeah, the most hip hop guy I think was at the time DJ DOC, like
Oh,
Kim
yeah.
Changmyeon,
Yeah.
the guy who always used to get in fights, just like
Yeah,
just knocking people out of the subway and shit. I was like, oh, I like that guy, scary dude. But yeah, because they would always have each week they would have like one or two like idols, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
I remember like HOTV used to come on and shit.
So yeah, I mean, like when like K-pop was, like people don't realize that there were acts back in the day that were trying to like introduce and break the Korean fans into hip hop,
Mhm.
right? Like DOC was one, Drunken Tiger definitely. Who else? Like One Time.
One time,
Dude,
is
that guy
one time
Teddy.
for your mind.
Teddy actually is like the mastermind behind a lot of YG entertainments.
Yeah, he's still producing
Yeah.
all their songs.
It's like, it's unreal, like how like creative and
Yeah.
relevant like the music is. You know, obviously, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's the creative mind behind it. But
Killing it. Even with Blackpink, that's just like
Yeah,
most of his
thank
hit
you.
songs.
yeah, and but like One Time, man, like if you go back, I don't know, like people listening or just kind of listening to us now and listening to K-pop now, but if you really go back, it's fun. It's fun to like listen to those.
Anything like
One Time, what else, like Joe PD,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And they weren't bad. I didn't
Yeah.
think they were bad at all.
Yeah.
Man. But anyways, yeah. So, I mean, when did you like kind of first get introed to or like Korean hip hop?
Korean hip hop.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Samdi.
No. I remember like I remember watching a video and listening to a song and like and crying. It was a song. No. It was a song about. It was Drunken Tiger song, but it was about his grandma passing away.
Damn.
It's called Ep.4. That's because that's when she passed.
passed away.
Yeah, it was like
Is it-
Ep.4.
is it a popular song?
Yeah, something like. Yeah, it was pretty popular. And like he would like cry like while he was like performing and shit. And like I love my grandma, so like I kind of got like
Got connected.
I got connected, and shit was so sad.
Did that kind of push you towards?
No, I don't think so. No, not even close.
Yeah, like influence from Korean hip hop,
Right.
like more from American hip hop, but at the same time, like, what's your thought on like, I guess, because like every girl group or every guy group is gonna have a rapper in that group.
Yeah.
So that's like not really. I guess they didn't get picked per se to be the rapper. Probably they're probably just like, yo, we need a rapper. Like who can do it in this group?
Who's the worst singer?
Yeah,
You do it.
yeah, you do it. You're gonna practice, right? So, what's your like take on like the rapping in a group, not a specialized like
Right.
rapper?
The group, the rapper group, the rapper in the group.
Yeah,
They're definitely getting better.
yeah,
I mean, I still sometimes when I mean the girls, I feel like still they just have like so much more to go. Like the guys have gotten much better, and this isn't like being sexist or anything. The girls, it's just like it's so cringy. Like when
It's hard to, like,
it's very hard to
feel it,
listen.
right?
Yeah, because they try to do what they do, and I'm just like listening and.
it's not organic.
And
It doesn't
yeah,
feel authentic.
not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like wondering how like the producers and stuff. I'm like, how did you let this like
Happen.
happen? Like you should have done like 10,000 more takes at
Right,
least.
right.
Like just get it down. Like because it just sounds so unnatural. Meanwhile, the guys they used to be like that too, but
It's gotten better.
they've gotten pretty good.
Do you think,
most
like-
of them can rap?
You think it got better? Like, if you're gonna pick, let's say there's 4 guys, let's say there's 5 guys in a group, and you're gonna pick a rapper. Obviously, being able to speak English is gonna be a huge
Yeah.
deal if you're gonna be a rapper.
Right.
now,
Right. Huge.
So I would imagine that most of the rappers that get selected in a group are gonna be guys that went to school overseas.
yeah.
Some sort of exposure, or
Right.
maybe they're not even Korean. Maybe they're
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Right.
So, I maybe like, I don't know. Maybe the females in these groups, maybe they didn't have enough. Like, they may not have had the opportunity to grow up overseas, because like, as I would imagine, like as a father, you're probably more likely to send your son to be like, yeah, go study overseas versus your daughter.
Right,
Get out of here,
right.
go- yeah.
But
So maybe that's why there's a gap.
a lot of the female acts right now in the girl groups, a lot of them are bilingual. And I think there was more and more expats, right? Like Korean Americans kind of.
I don't think they're expats. I think they're yuhak
UX
more than
things.
anything. Yeah.
Really, you think? Like, is it weren't a few in girls' generation?
One,
Tiffany, Jessica.
oh, two,
Two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that guy spat it out like he was Wikipedia right now.
I mean, the first time I kind of really sensed that the rap break or the rapper in a girl group was like Wonder Girls. There was one girl who was like really specifically
Oh,
Chinese girl?
dedicated.
She sucks.
Yeah.
No, it's not the Chinese.
Oh, it's not the Chinese girl,
It's
yeah.
Yubin.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
She got much better actually, but like when she first came on,
Mm.
I was like, yo, what the hell's going on?
Mhm.
It's just unacceptable. But I
There's
mean,
no all girl rap group, is there?
I
There's
don't
no
think
like
so.
a hip hop group.
In Korea
Right.
or just
Yeah,
in
in
general?
Korea,
In Korea.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
that I
think
know
so.
of.
Yeah, damn. If you're listening,
Dynamic duo, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
they're,
yeah, I
but
guess
they're,
so,
they're
yeah,
a
yeah.
duo, so
Yeah.
Epic High.
yeah.
Or one of them, they're also like two rappers in one
Kind of
DJ.
ballad? Oh.
Yeah. So
Mm.
Yeah, I like both of them. I thought Dynamic Duo was really good.
yeah. Oh, I love Dynamic duo.
And they actually came to the States when, again, I was working for the Korean entertainment company, and they, was it Far Side or Flip Side? I forget. Like, they were trying to do some collaboration with some, like, US-based hip-hop artists.
Mhm.
Like, Dynamic Duo was really professional, from what I hear, like, in the studio and whatever. But it was just their US hip-hop counterparts who were a bit more
Unprofessional.
like on the cannabis and just a little bit more relaxed about it. And probably at that point in time, K-pop wasn't really big on the radar for anybody outside of Korea and Asia. So, I think they probably, the US act wasn't really taking it seriously enough. But from what I heard, Dynamic Duo was really professional, and their songs are still really good. I mean, same with Epic High. I
Yeah.
think some of their stuff's good.
I hate it when they use like English wrong.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it hurts.
And all these like K-pop
The rap
groups.
breaks.
Not
Anything.
even the rappers, just like
The words.
just yeah.
When they throw in English in there, it's like.
And it doesn't
what are
make
you
sense.
doing?
Well, I mean,
Like-
right now, what's the song like? Dala Dala? Itzy?
Oh, Itzy, yeah.
I didn't really pay attention, but I think the intro's in English, right?
I don't know. I listened to it once. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's kind of like the hot song right now, right? I think.
It's all
But-
trash.
I gotta start paying attention to their grammar. Like send their writers a Grammarly software or app or whatever.
It just used to bother me all the time because not only not only are they pronouncing it probably usually wrong, but it just didn't make sense like
Yeah.
grammatically. Like
Right.
I'm like, yo, like double check. Have somebody like
Right.
check this before. I was just
Because
astounded
it would be
by.
like Korean. They throw
Yeah.
in like three English
Right.
English words and then back to Korean, but it's like
Yeah.
that
It didn't
doesn't
make sense.
work.
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't
High
work at all.
Five with Teenagers.
Yeah, that's no. How
Yeah.
about what was groove,
Groove
overdose?
overdose. Was overdose spelled with a Z?
Oh, dude, if it was, respect.
Overdose.
Yeah, if you guys are listening like live on Facebook, we would like if you guys
YouTube.
want to. Oh,
YouTube.
sorry, on YouTube. If you want to like throw up questions on the live chat, we'll try to answer some of it. If try to keep it related to the topic.
Yeah,
so K-pop.
please.
But one of the questions, I'll just pick one here. It says, "Are you a fan of any male group?" I'll tell you one of the groups,
Yeah,
man.
I am.
Like
Oh,
right
you
now,
like
there's some news like with Sunmi right now. I guess. Sunmi.
Oh,
Yeah, the Big Bang Boy.
Oh, man, Big Bang. I'm gonna tell you right now, like in Vietnam, I was like, they would ask me where I'm from because I don't know Korean, obviously. And then they're like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Korea." They're like, "Oh, you lie." And I was like, "Nah, I am." So I asked them like, "Oh, what's your favorite group in Korea?" I probably asked like maybe 10 people, guys and girls, all of them, Big Bang.
Big Bang.
And they wouldn't even know the name of Big Bang though. They'd say, guy group, Bang Bang Bang. And
Bang,
I was like,
bang, bang.
I was like, oh yeah, Bang Bang Bang.
Bang,
Okay,
bang,
cool.
bang.
Yeah. But Big Bang, I think, is one of the they're very
They're
talented
good.
group, man.
Yeah,
super
dude,
talented.
Their songs are real good.
Yeah.
When they first came out, it was real good. I think when GD and,
Iconic.
and
Yeah, man.
Top kind of did their duo thing,
Mhm.
that song I think was called High,
Mhm.
was really good.
Music videos are good too, man.
Yeah.
They're like very
Mhm.
colorful, like
Mhm.
very artistic.
There's
Yeah.
this one video from G Dragon, I forget who did it, but I think it was
Crayon.
It was no, it was Butterfly. I think it was like kind of like a mellow kind of flowy song, right? And this is probably around 2009, 2010. But the music video is all animated, really cool. But yeah, I think again like YG. I don't know how much Teddy produced Big Bang, but
He produced a lot of songs.
yeah, I mean I'm a fan of Teddy. Like Chris, you had stepped out. He was part of One Time, but he's basically like YG's
Yeah.
like one
He's-
of their main.
Yeah, he's like
Producer.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, guy groups, dude. I'm all in on Icon.
Icon, really.
Dude, Icon. Oh my god.
So YG.
Yeah.
YG,
yeah,
YG makes some good groups, man.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Like, I know like BTS doing their thing. There's Monsta X, Vix, and you know whatever, but they're all good. But Icon, there was.
Yeah, that song is pretty catchy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard the song "Killing Me"?
No.
Can you sing it?
No. I think people are gonna start boycotting this if they listen to it. The dance in Icon's "Killing Me" is freaking
Nice.
like, yeah, it is smooth.
Isn't that crazy that like a K-pop group full of dudes can like still appeal to people from like the 70s or like throughout our generations? Like
It's
it's catchy, man. They
It's
do a good
catchy.
job. They do a very good job.
check it out. Check that dance out.
Killing.
Check, and itself. But I think on YouTube, you know, they have Westerners. Some could be like dance experts or just like in entertainment. And
Reviewing the video.
yeah, and they're reacting like so and so's reaction to this, right? And one of them was like Icon's "Killing Me" dance or the music video, and they liked it too, right? And so I was like, oh, good, that's
What-
not just me.
One of those things with those reaction videos, though, like in my opinion, is I've never seen a negative reaction video because if you do, you're gonna get murdered by the like K-pop
The
fans.
K-pop fans.
You just can't do it. I've never seen any professional voice coach, professional dance coach watch a video and be like, that's garbage. They all have to say it's awesome because their view count is gonna either be 20,000 or 3 million based on what they say, in my opinion.
Mm-mm.
Because Pink, the Pink,
Blackpink.
no, just Pink.
Oh, Pink.
Like Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a YouTube review, a video review of Blackpink.
Really.
Yeah, and she was just like, "Yo, this is amazing! Like these girls are really good." I mean, the song is really good and everything, but at the same time, if with Pink's followers, if she said anything bad, I can't imagine the backlash from like Blackpink's fans.
There's more of them.
Oh, there's probably more of them, and,
Yeah.
and not only more, but they're more online.
Right.
Like K-pop fans are like
Mhm.
very present online.
Digital.
Yeah.
So man, they will burn people to death. So
Mm.
yeah.
That's why BTS Army, man. They're an army.
They are an army. They are an
Yo,
army.
you think they could incite a war? If they were like, hey, everybody raid this store right now.
You know, well, here's something I've heard of BTS, and I haven't really paid attention to the lyrics, but their message is a lot about empowerment, right? Is that true? Because I've heard this from several different sources.
Mhm.
If that's the case, then I think
That's a good thing.
Totally, I'm all in on that, right?
Yeah,
I think anything that promotes positivity
Right.
and encourages like empowerment and
Mhm.
kind of like standing up for yourself and whatever. In this day and age, particularly,
Mm-hmm.
because remember, like like how we were kind of brainstorming ideas of different episodes and stuff, and somebody had mentioned something about social media anxiety or insecurity.
Mhm.
That's not just for Koreans or
Right,
Americans.
it's for
It's really
everybody.
universal, right? It's like kind of generational, but yeah, I mean, so anything like those type of positive messages is like. Yeah.
Same.
But what about you guys? Like any?
I'd have to go with Big Bang as well.
Yeah, I think Big Bang is. When I went to Japan, I went to a club like back in the day, like it's a club like EDM clubs, and then they would just start playing Big Bang.
We went to one.
Yeah, and then everybody would just do the dance together.
Yeah.
So it's like guys are like trying to grab girls and stuff, and all of a sudden Big Bang hits, and there's no more molesting. It's like, yo, we gotta do the dance, bro. It's like it's Big Bang
They're
time.
promoting peace.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's
and
like
then,
a country line dance.
yeah, but it's not so much a
I
country
mean, like
dance because
that dance.
yeah, I guess, but it's like everyone. It just becomes the performer
Yeah.
in the club.
Yeah.
They're a part of Big Bang. They start singing, they start dancing, and even if you don't know, because there would be foreigners in there still trying to grope, and then they'll be like, "Yo, why is everybody stopping? What's going on?"
But if you're in the know,
Yeah,
you're on the dance floor.
You're exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I thought it was really like I was like, oh, is this a Japanese culture thing? Like, maybe like this imperialistic kind of mindset of like everyone does it together. But it was pretty interesting to see, like Taezong's like one song that's like I can't remember his song, but ding 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 ding.
Oh,
ding,
yeah,
ding, ding.
yeah.
Dude, the Japanese version of the song, dude, everybody went crazy in the club for that song. I was like, this would never happen in Korea.
Apparently they love him.
Oh,
there.
he's probably the most
Yeah,
famous
yeah,
out of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, in Japan.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
That's what I heard.
No, I really like Big Bang, and if you, because you guys heard it at the clubs, right? But same when I hear it at a club here in Korea back in the day or in LA, it with that sound system, right?
Yeah.
And that environment and the lights kind of dimmed and whatnot, and you got some drinks in you and stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So talking about Big Bang members, that like you know how like they have like, I think they have a Korean name or the name that they're known as, but in Japan they have like another name,
What is
right?
it?
Mhm.
Like
I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but these I'll look it up in a second. But these are the names that they were supposed to go by, I guess originally. Top was to be called Mark.
Mark?
Mark.
Just
Mark.
hey, just Mark.
Just Mark.
English Mark.
Yeah. Hey Mark.
Hey Mark.
G-Dragon was supposed to be Sonic.
Oh God.
Wait, this is in Japan.
No, this is what they
Oh,
were supposed to go as
I
stage
see, I
names.
see.
Yeah.
Stage-
Sonic like.
Sonic, the Hedgehog, Sonic.
Oh my God.
Or Sonic the Hamburger.
Taezong was supposed to be known as Big Castle.
Another way.
Oh, Big Castle. No, I actually like that.
I like that.
Bro.
Bro, that's Big Castle. Don't mess with Big
He's
Castle.
not just a kingdom. He's a big kingdom. He's Big Castle. And then Taeyang was supposed to be Tech One.
Tech 1?
Yeah, I guess
What, for like
One
Tech
Go?
9?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's probably the most similar to like his
Yeah.
original
Right.
name.
Yeah.
Big Castle.
Everybody else is just out of control, man. Like
Mark.
Big Castle, Mark. I would have been pissed if you're like, hey man, that's Big Castle. This is Mark. Like, yo, is Mark the guy that killed her? Who's Mark? Oh, it's too funny.
What about the last one?
It didn't say in this
Oh.
article, yeah.
Big Castle. Oh my God, I wish.
So this other thing that I was looking up was talking about how, this is a 2012 article talking about how much it cost per idol. So just add
Oh.
a couple more millions. But it says, in 2012, the Wall Street Journal reported that the cost of training one idol under just SM Entertainment averaged a US $3 million.
One person?
One
person.
act.
But that's
Holy
2012, so you could
shit.
probably add another, I'm assuming another 2 to 3 mil to that.
Holy shit.
Wait, one person.
So like 15 mil for like if it's a 5-person
Yeah.
group.
And then hear this out. So this is another thing that I looked up, and I'm just going to piece this information together. But it says, so for the most part, like the way Korean contracts work, Korean idols will not be getting paid any money until they pay off their debts. For example, if it costs, we'll use that 3 mil, 3 mil to train the member, to train that specific person, they will not get paid until they pay off the entire 3 million to the agency.
Well, I feel like that kind of makes
That's
sense.
normal, yeah. But that also means they're not getting paid at all until they get 3 mil.
I can't see that being the case. I mean, I do agree. I'm sure that is
A contract, yeah.
the contract, but I'm sure they're getting some type of a stipend or something.
Oh well, they're not paying for food on
But
their
it's
own or
like-
anything yet.
There's
That's probably
something
adding to
there,
the
but
bills.
at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
though, it is true that the majority of K-pop contracts are like, I don't know, I don't want to say like indentured servitude, but it's really like until you do pay that off.
Notorious for being.
Yeah, it's incredibly kind
But
of
this
one-sided.
kind of makes sense. Like if I spent 3 mil on you,
You can
pay me
back.
back.
And with that, it also said another article was saying that I think last year 100 idol groups debuted and only 5% made it. So if you think about the 95% that didn't make it, and let's say they all cost 3 million per person, you think about how much these companies are losing.
How are they
per
gonna
group.
pay that back then?
Well, the ones, I guess the groups that are making it is covering all of that.
Yeah,
And
so-
not only that, those idols are probably still just under contract doing other stuff.
doing other stuff. They're not getting promoted and pushed. I mean, I know an artist right now with one of the major kind of entertainment companies, and they're not getting promoted and pushed enough, right? They have their own little niche carved out that they can really do stuff in, but yeah, they're really not paying much attention. It's like many agencies, even in the US, right? Whether you're representing actors or models, like modeling agencies especially, if you're working and you're getting callbacks and you're pretty popular, they're obviously gonna milk you for as much money as possible, and just resource-wise, the time and commitment to kind of push
Yeah.
mid-tier or lower tier, it's just not happening. So these acts really need to go out and try to find work for themselves to try to make some money, right? I was gonna say something about that 3 mil kind of thing, but I'll come back to it though.
Dude, that's like, yeah, you know, there's probably a really dark side of the industry.
Yeah.
And I think when you ask, like, I think the top ranking, and when you ask, like, the Korean like the young generation, like, what they want to be when they grow up, it's like, number one is, like, in the top three is, like, actor or a K-pop idol. So it's like,
Yeah, it goes back and
because
forth.
you only see the success stories, the 5% or the 1%.
But all the guys all the people who don't make it, how are they paying back their debt?
That's what I'm saying. They're probably,
Well, I mean,
Who knows?
so here's the thing, it's like, I'm not questioning that figure, but it's like 3 mil for one to develop them or per year?
but to develop them.
To develop them.
So, but
in
that makes sense
entirety.
because if they're taking these kids at, like, let's say 10 years old until 20,
Yeah.
just housing for 10 years,
Yeah.
True.
yeah, like the statistics, you can bump those numbers up and be like, what's the average cost of living in Gangnam? Okay, that's gonna add, but they're living in little
They're
like
not living in
shacks.
Gangnam.
Yeah.
Right, it's
Like,
like a
what's the
dorm,
average
right?
person eating? Well, they're not eating, so
Mhm.
that's your saving cost.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to be in a recording studio for extra?
Right.
All that's in-house, so it's not really cost for them.
Right,
They have everything in-house.
but they're itemized, if you
But
itemize
if you
it.
itemize it, yeah, it'll come out to 3 mil, easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
the thing is, like, if that's the case, say it's like a 5-member band and you're spending like 15 million to develop them, right? Like, just easy math. The amount of money that they would make on a successful act like Big Bang is like exponential. Like how many times that amount, right? So I would imagine, like, if you have a really successful act, this is like an outlier, right? A real success case. That 3 million is gonna be recouped already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That
you know.
one successful group will cover every trainer's expense for the next probably 15 years.
And all the losing act too, right? The acts that don't make it, right? So it's a portfolio business, right?
Yeah.
So if you got like 20 artist groups out there and 1 or 2 hit it big, they're gonna cover the losses of the remaining like 18 acts, right? I mean, it's just a portfolio business. You're hedging your risk and trying to see what hits.
So going back to the Big Bang thing, like G-Dragon is G-Dragon in Japan, but Taeyang is, it means, Taeyang is sun in
Mhm.
Korean. His name in Japan, it means sun, but it's in Spanish. So his name is Soul.
What the F?
And T.O.P. is T.O.P. and Taesung is Delight.
Delight.
D/light.
Why does he get the
No, he
best
gets the-
names?
No, Big Castle or
Delight.
Delight. Yeah, man.
Yo, Delight.
Yeah.
What about Sungmi?
Sungmi is VI.
VI?
Like victory.
Oh, okay.
But right now, man,
He's
having some
hot.
losses,
He's
bro.
very-
he's defeat.
Bro, he's defeat.
Oh, yeah? So it's,
Have you not heard what's going on?
I mean, I have
Oh.
with the Burning Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in some deep trouble right now, it looks like, huh?
He fucked, bro.
Really? What's the latest? Because the last I checked was like. maybe
I
1 or
couldn't
2
tell you the
weeks.
latest, but I could just tell you he fucked by how many times he's appearing on my neighbor thing.
Yeah, that's right. He's on
He's-
Trending.
Yeah, he's trending too much. It's not a good thing.
So apparently I guess the police have been are involved too. Like they're saying
Like they bought him or something,
yeah,
right?
they're like getting bribed. So now that
Correct.
came into light. So now you've got
Uh-huh.
corrupt cops
Uh-huh.
involved with
I think the latest thing was like him saying, or him allegedly saying, on like the group talk or some shit. Like they had like an investor or something like that.
Yeah.
Who was at the club, right? And he was like,
Send them XXX girls.
yeah,
over.
sending XXX girls who are more likely to
To
like
have
put
sex
out or
with them,
something.
yeah.
Yeah. And if that is turned out to be true, then he's
But I mean,
military time.
if you get into the club business here, I'm sure like that's, you know,
It's a staple, man.
it's just normal standard practice if you're in a not like a club business in Korea.
You
Yeah,
can't get
yeah.
caught though, bro.
Yeah, but like once you're a celebrity going into the club business, like you're taking a huge risk, unless you are a retired celebrity that is no longer making music. You're out of the
Right.
limelight.
No one cares about you.
Nobody cares about you. Yeah, like I almost feel like he's still too relevant doing this. So now it's like
Yeah,
it's
he
an
is
issue.
irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, he had to
So-
cancel tours apparently for all this. So
Oh, is that right?
yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Because the Koreans, like, if they find something wrong with you,
Ooh, boy.
they won't let you do nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true. I
But
mean,
you
you're-
think
you're-
about, I mean, like Big Bang's going through a lot of like, you know, a lot of I guess legal things, marijuana and all that stuff.
Right.
yeah, with that turned out to be like, he turned out to be the best. Like,
Yeah.
just he's just smoking weed. Like, he's fine now.
Yeah.
After all this, like, he's like,
Well, yeah, they I guess they drug tested him again with this. So yeah.
what? Sydney?
Yeah.
Oh, they drug tested him
Yeah,
too.
again, yeah. So
So, I mean, is the drug policy, drug law still the same where it's kind of retroactive?
bro, it's one. Oh, I don't know about retroactive.
I mean, because retroactive, because from what I remember years back, right, is that you cannot, like, say for example, like we're in a room and, or someone like, kind of like snitches on you, right? And so they get caught, and basically the police, from what I understand, is they're like, you know, give us X number of names, right? And we'll reduce your sentence or let you go, or whatever, you're cooperating with us. Whether they did it or not, if you suspect it, we'll investigate it, right? And if there's enough people to corroborate a story, like 5 months ago you smoked weed, no, granted this is way back in the day, then you're in trouble with the police, right? So I don't know if
Without
that's
any
still-
evidence, just hearsay.
That was the thing, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
But it was that ridiculous from the stories that I heard from the people who got caught, right? So I'm like, dude, there's alcohol here. Just drink. Just lay off any and whatever substances beyond alcohol. I mean, you just don't want to
When
mess
the
with that.
when the Avengers Age of Ultron, that's the one they shot in Korea, right?
Yeah.
I did some private lessons for one of the directors, and one of the staff that they brought from England, he like bought some synthetic marijuana from a website.
Here?
Yeah. So they were here for quite a while to film that. So that guy, like, it was supposed to be an untraceable, like it can't come out in tests. So he shipped it, and he shipped it to his hotel. And while he was at the hotel, the postman rang his room. The front desk said like, "Oh, there's your delivery's here." He walked out. Postman was there. Went to sign, and then boom, whatever like
Oh,
equivalent of FBI agents surrounding him.
Korean FBI?
Yeah, whatever equivalent. Yeah,
Yeah.
snagged him up. Minimum sentence 1 year.
Holy
Damn.
shit.
Yeah, dude. So the Avengers like broadcast or whatever team, like the team had to go get lawyers, and this guy was like a low level. Like I mean, he's not like a high level guy. No, he's a low level. I don't know, maybe a sound engineer or a graphics guy or something like that, right? So, yeah, they eventually made a deal where they would let him just leave the country, but he's never allowed to come back to Korea, and then he had to pay a fine. But that was for a synthetic marijuana pill or
Pill,
whatever,
damn.
yeah, whatever
A
it was.
pill?
I don't know what it was. Synthetic marijuana that can't be traced.
Korea's so just, I don't know, they're really locked down on drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
most Asian countries do. Like,
right.
Japan, man, you might as well just kill yourself if you call it anything.
Is it because, like, we're so, are they worried about, like, the civilian usage? That we just have such, like,
I mean,
addictive personalities?
I think so. Like, gambling's illegal, pornography's illegal, drugs are illegal, but at the same time, you're allowed to just get hammered on alcohol. And if you do anything on alcohol, it's like, I was drunk. It's like a defense. Like, you
Yeah,
actually
it's an
use that as an
excuse,
excuse.
right.
So, it's weird. I mean, I think it's good.
It's good and bad. I guess like the people who, because marijuana, from what I know, like cannabis it's not really a gateway drug, right? It's just the whole thing that's happened with, like, back in the day with, whether it's like the Rothschilds that really kind of promoted this, and whoever the drug czar was, like back in the day, I think it was like the 1940s, 50s, or 60s, and the policies that they made in the U.S. And I don't know if that really that standard got carried over to the rest of the world or whatever, right? But, people who are driving under the influence, like how many accidents happen driving under the influence of cannabis that results in like fatalities versus alcohol? I don't know, right?
Not much. There's a comedian talking about like nobody smokes marijuana and drives. They smoke weed and they sit in their couch. Nobody leaves.
It's true though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you look at the states now, like how many states have legalized it, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the stats I heard on sports radio this morning, like of the 30 some odd teams, like what is it, almost like 20, like high 20s number of cities you can is recreational smoking. So
Even in Korea, I think I read somewhere that they're making it medically. They're planning to make it medically
Yeah, I think
legal
I
or
saw
some
that
shit,
too.
right?
Yeah, because there's
Same. That's
something with a
huge.
Korean mom that was using the medical marijuana for her kid that had some sort of either cerebral palsy or something that like,
It was
and the
helping.
marijuana wasn't helping. Yeah, so
it helps. It helps with seizures.
Seizures, yeah.
I mean, that'd be huge.
It would, but I mean, if that's
huge
the
for the
case-
medical community.
Right. I
But
mean,
if
it's
it's-
100% all day now. It's gonna be nice.
Have there been celebrities that have just been like completely wiped out, or like I guess musicians or K-pop artists that have been wiped out because of drug use, like just completely?
Top, right?
Yeah, but he's still
relevant.
he's
Oh
still
yeah, he's
relevant.
relevant.
I'm talking about like just they did it, they got in trouble, they're locked up, or like they just can't perform anymore. I think there's like
Not that I know of.
yeah.
Not that, I mean, I'm sure there may, I don't
can't
know.
think.
I can't think of.
Yeah, I can't think of any relevant.
Right.
Maybe like a washed up person that gets into it and they're like already out of the limelight.
It's usually it's usually gambling.
Gambling.
Yeah, they'd just be caught gambling. Even
Why do they
even
care,
Shin
man?
Jong-un, right? You know,
That's
like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
who's living in Singapore.
Yeah.
Country Coco?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Country Coco with Tak Jae-un.
Yeah.
He got caught gambling
That's
in
what I'm saying.
Vegas,
Yeah.
bro.
I mean,
Come on, like
you are supposed, if you're a citizen of whatever
Yeah, but
country, you're
I mean,
supposed to
come
follow
on.
your country's laws.
yeah, but when in Rome, when in Vegas, like you don't gamble. Like, I mean, yeah, he's Korean, so he can't gamble anywhere. Like, I feel like that's bullshit.
It
Like,
is
you're-
bullshit.
You're
I agree
Korean,
with
so
that.
you can't gamble anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
No,
Come
no,
on.
And at the same time, the government allows Korea to build casinos
Yeah,
in Incheon, like
Yeah.
everywhere to make money
yeah. Come on.
for other people.
Come on.
No, that you can gamble, but I think if it's like some type of an addiction where it kind of permeates into other parts of your life, where it becomes degenerate, like a degenerative kind of lifestyle, right? Because there was a very famous actor who went to Vegas, and his mother-in-law or him, like they won big, like several $100,000s on the slots, right? This became news, but because he gambled or his family member gambled or you know.
You had to give it back.
No, it's not that he had to give it back. It was just like he was lucky. It's not like he got people look bad on him or anything like that. I think with Shin Jong-un or like other people gambling,
He's
it's
just too famous.
maybe like if there were certain losses or they were really kind of taking out bad loans or I don't know. I think when it goes beyond just gambling and winning and it becomes some type of degenerative.
Yeah, but
like,
how do you apply that as a
behavior.
law where you're like, oh, you're
No, my chicken man's was.
It's-
I
it's
just
either-
having
Wait,
fun.
is it a law or is
it's
it like
illegal
the,
to
It's
gamble,
illegal.
period.
I know it's
Yeah.
illegal to gamble here.
It's
In
illegal
the
to gamble
world,
overseas.
in the world.
Period. For
Oh,
Koreans.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucked
yeah.
up.
Like you have to abide as a U.S. citizen. You have to abide by every U.S. citizen law.
Right.
You can't go to a country where, let's say, prostitution is legal,
Right.
and be like, oh, I can do this here because it's legal here. It's still illegal as a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, so I
Same
didn't
thing
hear
with-
that. So I don't know how that celebrity who won all that money on the slots, like, yeah, I mean, he still came out on,
But this is the way I look at it. I think maybe like, if you're a Korean government and you want to strike fear in the average person's like eyes, it's like, oh, you want to go gamble? This is what can happen. Let's grab someone that is in the
Guinea pig.
yeah. It's like this guy's famous. Let's just drill this guy. Everyone's gonna know it. It could happen to you if you do it. I think you just set an example with a celebrity.
God damn, my man was one of my favorite
dude,
comedians, bro.
Before I liked any
He was funny as fuck.
Dude, just his haircut made
Yeah,
me laugh.
dude.
Yeah.
Just the way he
His
looked
body,
like,
just
yeah,
everything
dude.
he did, his
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah,
My man was
Yeah,
so
he
he
funny.
was very witty too. Yeah. He was funny.
Now you guy has to live in Singapore. He can't even like, come back here.
But speaking of, like, on the K-pop,
Oh, he was on Ananyeong님, I think, at one point.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Back in the day?
No, like not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like within the last 2 years.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because they talked about his Singapore thing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
I went when I went to Singapore. I checked out his bingsu place.
yeah, yeah,
Shaved ice.
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, he's doing well for himself.
Wow. Yeah,
He's
With
doing-
all the money he
He's
wants,
doing really.
gambling,
Yeah, because it's well, it's first of all, it's just fucking hot all the time there.
Yeah.
So it's it's not seasonal,
Yeah.
and the rotation is insane. You know how like in
Eat and
Korea
go,
you would
eat
go.
and go.
Yeah, they just eat and go. As soon as they finish, I was with my mom and my dad. As soon as they finish their shaved
Right,
ice,
right.
they're out.
Yeah.
But you know, like in Korea, we
Sit
it's
there for a
like
couple
two guys
hours.
with a cup of coffee, and then you sit there for hours.
Yeah.
None of that shit.
Right.
So he's doing well.
No, but I mean, kind of bringing it back to K-pop, they were good.
They were.
They had good songs.
He's killing it.
Yeah. Another K-popper who got, this is not for drugs or anything, but it was Yoo Jun
Oh right.
with the military, and he's still banned.
Yeah.
Right. And
What happened to him? He moved to the States or something to avoid the
he
military?
did stuff in China afterwards, and apparently I heard that he did fairly well. He's living in Hawaii right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he still does stuff in China, but like when you talk about a guy who was at his peak
Yeah, he's killing it.
and then this thing just hit, that's like
He just avoided the military, right?
By going to the States?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
like
no?
there was something where now don't quote me on this, right? Just what I vaguely have heard and kind of
Remember.
understood from the news at that time was he said publicly that he would honor his military service.
Oh,
that's right, yeah,
so
yeah.
he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is like in certain interviews or even in passing interviews, not necessarily like a sit down, it's like, are you gonna go to the military,
Right.
right? It wasn't necessarily that, I think he was saying it in passing. And then there was something where he, as a dual citizen, he gave up his Korean citizenship, but
So he didn't have to.
so he didn't have to go to the military.
And then Korea kicked him out for that.
Yeah, and how it happened was he was in the States, or he was somewhere abroad. This thing went down, and he tried to re-enter Korea, and they basically turned him away at the airport, saying like, you
And
can't.
people
come in."
act like this is the first time they've been lied to. He said he was gonna go to the military and he didn't, and people got so upset.
They got really upset.
I mean,
Well, again, they're probably just making.
I understand
An example out of
example,
them,
right?
yeah.
Because I understand that they would get upset, but like I don't understand it to the point where they really just like Salem witch trialed him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just, you know, like
But he was the martyr. He was
He was.
made the example.
he was.
And you know, subsequent to Yoo Jun, I've heard like, oh, so and so doesn't want to go to the military. So and so doesn't want to. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that like consistently, whether you're in the public eye like a celebrity or just regular guys, right?
Yeah.
So just because he was made an example of, it didn't really deter guys from not wanting to go to the military or trying to even get out of the service, right? I know guys personally who are looking for ways out of the service.
I think. Wait, you're saying that his behavior didn't affect anybody wanting to go to the military?
Like not wanting to go to the
I think.
military.
Well, I don't think anybody in Korea wants to go to the military.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's like his thing. So why was he made the example of, right? What was
Well,
the
I think
point
it was
of
just
that?
easy for people to dislike him because it's like, oh, this guy made all this money in Korea, became an idol here, and then he's just gonna leave because it's like that's kind of your service to the country.
He was already like not fully Korean, right?
Right.
He's like
So-
American citizen.
And then say that's the case,
Uh-huh.
right? And by the way, at that time, he was very beloved. He was like
yeah.
super
yeah,
popular,
he was
right?
top, yeah.
And regardless of whether he was a Korean American or not, there are Korean celebrities, guys, who try to get out of military service as well, subsequent to him.
Okay.
MC
right.
Mall.
Yeah, and they got jailed too. Like he went to jail.
Did he?
Yeah, he's
For that?
yeah
the
for his.
military?
For a tooth?
He
teeth?
went to the same amount of time that he should have served military.
Yeah.
He served in jail, and he's still not on TV.
He went to jail for 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It was he pulled
Bro, he should've
His
just
teeth
gone.
out.
Teeth out,
He should have
yeah,
just
Well,
gone,
he
bro.
said he did, and then I guess He did it, and then he did it, and then
He's just gone.
he's gone. Yeah, but now he's not even on TV.
He's on TV.
No.
Yeah.
So,
So
and he's not in
people-
China either. So
People are really upset about like you skipping out on the military.
I think because it sucks so much.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's
if
like-
I did it,
And other people
fuck,
went
like, you
and
have to
did
do
it.
it.
You know,
too.
the way I kind of look at it is like you know, Drake. Let's say he made all his
I know.
money. You know this guy named Drake?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's kind of Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So he makes all this money in America, and let's say he never paid taxes in America,
Mm.
and then he just like,
Right.
then you'd be like, yo, who's this dude? Why is he? How can he make money in America and not pay taxes and live in, and then just move to Canada at the end?
Mm.
I think that's kind of like this military service in Korea. It sucks already.
Yeah.
You have to do it as a male, and it's like the idea is like, okay, if you're making all this money and you're a celebrity, I want you to do it just because we all have to do it.
Mhm.
Like I kind of understand that mindset.
I do too.
Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. While I was in Singapore, Singapore has a mandatory military service too.
Mhm.
All the guys that I asked, they were like, and this is like just common from what I understand, everybody has, like nobody has an issue of serving in the military. They look forward to it. It's like, oh,
Jeez.
I get to serve my country. They're like proud of it.
Mhm.
I've never met a Korean guy that was like, oh, I'm proudly serving in the military.
You know, I guess you're right in the sense that in more recent years, celebrities who go to the military service are
They're puppets. They just go there. They're media.
yeah, but it ups their stock. You know, when they go and come out of the military. Granted, like the entertainment company, and maybe if they're past paying their dues and they're actually making money, a lot of them in their prime, they got to forego 2 years of making money, right? But just they go. Some guys actually like it's kind of like an event, right? They're fans from abroad who will come to Korea and go to where they're going to be shipped off to and like say farewell and do all of that, right? I think like when people go to the military, it's become a little bit more of a public kind of display, if you will, that hey, I'm going to serve, right?
Right.
And
Oh,
what-
like
what-
honorably. And
honorably,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I see what
yeah.
you're saying. Okay.
And they're a bit more like some guys are proactive, like I'm going to the hardest unit, like the Rock, the Marines.
Yeah,
or
because
something,
you would
right?
see guys like cry
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh, I don't want to go." But yeah, you see guys like in uniform saluting
Right,
and be like,
right.
I'm gonna serve. I'll be back.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm sure the military and the government are like, "Hey man, you guys gotta stop crying in front of the camera. Like, stop avoiding it. Just do a service for the country. So that way we can bring this positive feeling of like I get to serve my country versus like I don't want to do this."
I feel like they, to some extent, they probably get special treatment a little.
Oh, dude, I mean, they're PR for the military.
Right. Yeah.
Like Big Bang's still doing concerts for the military,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I've seen videos
Yeah.
of them in uniform.
Yeah. It was like Taeyang, Taesung, Benzino.
Yeah.
I mean, just that like
To keep
would have
you-
been. They would have to pay them so much.
Oh,
if-
dude,
if
that-
that would have happened like in real life.
I know, right? The government like owes them a check.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure they're eating well. I'm sure they're
yeah,
doing
they have
fine.
to.
Like,
I mean, people don't like to admit it, but I hear, like GD like just comes to Park Hyatt a lot, like right now.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he comes
Just
out a
hang
lot,
out.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could, as part of your military service, you do like civilian work to honor it, right? Whether it's at an office or
Well, depending
whether-
on
yeah,
where you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
But the public was much more lenient, I feel like, towards swings. Do you guys know?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did he not go?
He went,
Oh.
but this is, I think, this is the first time I heard something like this, but he went and he left early.
Yeah.
It's
hit
usually like a
again.
2-year thing,
Yeah.
right? And he left, I think he left like,
Couple months early or something.
no, like maybe a year, maybe he served a year, I
Mhm.
feel like. But like under mental health issues.
Oh.
That he got while serving.
I'm not sure. No, I think he said he had
He had already.
already,
right?
but then like like being there, it got worse or
Right.
something like that. I think I could be wrong, but like nobody's really talking about that. I mean,
Oh, so he got out,
He got out.
and he didn't have to do it.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I guess it's because of the mental health thing. Well, was it Psy that went twice?
yeah, that's
That-
my man,
Bro, salute that man. He went to the military
That's my
twice.
man. He went
Bro.
40 years,
Hey
bro.
man, if these kids are complaining, yo, Psy went twice, dog. Yo, give that guy national, like, yeah, you should give him retirement for life, man. Good for him.
He's doing wonderful things for the
Bro,
country.
dude.
Gangnam Style and
Yeah, yeah,
Korea, put Korean
Wow.
on the map.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
Serving his
goodness.
country twice. He's like, yeah, you know what? One service is not enough. Let me do this again.
Oh no, actually, this is why people he got a lot of hate in the beginning because he in the span in that like 1 year that he got out earlier, he said because of that he said he won't do anything that makes him money during that year. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, because he got out of the military. But then I think he got caught doing rap lessons or some shit. So people are like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually
But I mean,
people get upset when you lie.
Yeah.
It looks like.
but at the same time, I mean, I'm sure his PR people were like, yeah, just tell me you're not gonna make money. But how can you not make money? Like, what
How are you
supposed
gonna
to
live,
do?
right?
You're just gonna sit there for a year?
Right. Or what do they expect?
I mean,
I
if
feel like
that's
people are just so.
It's a sensitive subject,
Yeah,
the military.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's,
yeah.
it's,
I was having a conversation of why people I'm trying to figure out why it's so honorable to serve in the military in certain countries where it is mandatory and it's not here. And in my opinion, I think it's probably because they just have too many people, and it's just they don't know what to do with all these people. It's like, okay, we just got whatever X amount of people joining today. They all need jobs. Derek, you go dig a hole for the next 2 years. You blow balloons. It's not productive work.
it isn't.
If it was set to a point where they could really organize it, okay, everyone goes through 3 months of basic training, everybody goes through individualized training, you're going to learn a skill that you could actually take over after military.
Like the U.S. military.
Yeah, it's okay, you're going to become a medic for 2 years, and yeah, you're not going to be able to work in a hospital afterwards, but you'll have basic medic treatment. It's that stuff I think is reserved to career military people versus the just mandatory military. So mandatory military is just literally a 2 year prison sentence. So no, of course nobody wants to do it.
True. And I think in the guys that I know in the U.S. military who aren't lifers, right? Who went in, served a few years, and then came out, whether they were deployed or not, there were options for them to learn something, to do something, you know what I mean? Whether they were going to use it afterwards or not, but there were skills that they were able to learn. Like one guy I know, he learned things in computer programming, right? Another guy learned things in systems administration and networking. So these guys actually had these options of learning something, and they could even use that as a job outside the transition to civilian life. Here, to your point, Chris, from years ago when I first lived here, several guys have said it like this, verbatim, it's 2 years of getting dumb. They felt that they were just losing brain power.
Wasting time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think what Chris is saying is if there was some type of program or curriculums or options for guys to go, and yeah, 2 years of you are serving the country, but there's more that you could be doing or learning, then yeah, it may not be as bad, right?
If it gave you options.
Yeah, and again, I think it just comes to logistics. If we had let's say we're doing a group project in school and we have 10 members, it's eventually you're gonna have 5 members that don't do anything because you're I don't know, we don't have enough stuff for you to do. They're gonna have to do dumb stuff and just sit there. But if you were to cut that 10 into 5 and then be effective with that, then it's okay, we don't need the rest of you guys. We'll just take half of the population, half of the male population,
Right.
and that half, it's okay, we can actually assign you good
Do
skills.
something, right.
Yeah, it's and then maybe not everybody wants to go to college in Korea, even though it's really forced upon here. It's let's say you had an option of after you go to high school, you have a choice to go to a good military center. So I don't know, I feel like if you're a K-pop star, it's yeah, why would you want to do a 2-year prison sentence in the middle of your success?
True.
You know?
It's true.
Yeah.
That's probably true too. So we got she or he spoke to a Korean friend today, and he told me that some people don't want to serve since the country's still technically at war.
Yeah.
Did we make peace shit
No, I mean, but
last year?
Okay, that's a good point. but at the same time, that you're like not understanding that to serve your country is you're serving your country so that you don't get taken over again.
Yeah.
Like we come like Korean history is like we've been taken over like by
What the
Japan,
hell, man?
right? So it's like you should be in the mindset of like, for this not to happen again, I want to serve my country and protect our country. So in case a war does break out, we can protect ourselves. Not we're under war, I don't want to serve because it's scary. Like that mindset is not the correct mindset, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's when I talked to the Singaporean taxi driver. That's exactly what he told me. It was like, he's like, how come Korean people don't want to serve in their country? You guys are bordered with North Korea, and you're like technically at war. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he was like, we all want to serve in the Singaporean army because of China, because of all these other Southeast Asian countries that are around us, and Singapore is financially the highest, like making the most. He's like, we fear that one of these other countries can just come in and be like, look, we don't have more resources, we want what you have. So he said that they're so proud to serve their country. I was like, wow, that's kind of an interesting, like, proud way of thinking versus this shying away from the problem and sweeping it under the rug and like, I don't want to be a part of it.
That's actually a kind of like a very much a mindset
Yeah.
question, right?
Yeah.
And that can actually be like another topic because that's I think
Yeah,
that
let's get back to
yeah,
K-pop.
but that opens up like a huge kind of debate or other talks, right? But it's really kind of boils down to like from what Chris is saying with the Singaporean mandatory service, like they want to serve to protect their home, right?
Mhm.
Whereas the listener kind of with that point about you're still technically at war with North Korea, so if Singapore was technically at war with another country, I think maybe that mindset is like more motivation to actually go and serve, right?
Mhm.
To enlist and say, I'm going to protect my home country, right?
Mhm.
Maybe in Korea, there's a little bit of, if there are still people who don't want to serve, it's like, it's a little bit more me
Mhm.
versus, my home.
I mean, I'm sure that feeling has subsided somewhat because we haven't been at war for a long, long time. So
Yeah.
people just like understand that it's less likely to happen.
There are skirmishes, or there were
Yeah.
skirmishes, I mean,
Yeah.
only up until a few years ago. So casualties, like the naval attack,
Yeah.
there were lives lost, right? Skirmishes I heard happen a lot, especially back in the day, like probably up until a few years ago. It happened a lot more than we thought it did. It just
Yeah.
didn't make the news.
There was a
right?
big one in 2002, but it was during the World Cup, and it barely made the news. Like, a lot of soldiers died, and it was under the soccer thing.
Yeah.
Sad thing, but let's get back to K-pop.
So who do you like these days?
Man, I mean, I'm definitely not keeping up as much as I could be, or as I was back in the day, like when Girls' Generation, Big Bang, 21. 21 was huge. I
like
love 21.
Yeah.
I usually like YG groups, it looks like.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
These days, I know that JYP came out with a new girl group. That's ITZY.
That's ITZY, yeah.
So I listened to their song once. It wasn't really my thing. I mean, BTS is obviously huge,
Right.
but I don't think they've been really. They haven't really been doing their thing here because they're so global, right?
Right.
They're all over like Billboard and stuff.
Right.
Blackpink, I recently saw that they're expanding as well. Like they're doing a lot of things in the States.
Yeah, they were on like a Good Morning America or
Yeah, they
something.
were on Good
Yeah,
Morning America.
and-
They were on the Colbert Show.
Same with like, I mean, maybe not necessarily those shows with Monster X as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was enjoying their
Global expansion.
global expansion.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is
Yeah.
like with that global, like, dude, I think K-pop, like what it's done for Korea for sure. Like, you think about what K-pop's gonna be doing in the future and what it's done so far. It's definitely put Korea on the spotlight in
It
terms
has.
of culture, food, travel, like beauty products. Like,
Right.
I mean, no matter where I go in Southeast Asia or in Asia in general, like, if you say that you're from Korea, they know how to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to say hello.
Right.
They know how to say like oppa. They know how to say hyung. They know how to say like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things. They know like samgyeopsal. Like, yeah, how do you know all this stuff? Like,
Mm.
but it's all from the music and it's from the
dramas
like
and-
dramas.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely huge. And I don't know. What do you think K-pop is gonna go like from here on, because we do see more groups that have, like Blackpink has a Thai girl.
I think Blackpink is the first group
within.
that I really think they have potential to lead us
Oh, for sure.
like more, because they're the first group that has 3 English speakers
Yeah.
out of 4.
Yeah.
Fluent.
Yeah,
Fluent,
fluent.
yeah.
And that Thai girl can speak like 4 or 5 languages. And you know, they're not just English speakers. I think Rose, she's like from
New Zealand or
right. She has some kind of accent,
Yeah,
which I like.
yeah.
They just need to, so in those respective home markets like New Zealand, Thailand,
Mhm.
whatever, I'm sure there's, the management company is wanting to push and market them, right? They just gotta really do it a lot more. And because Blackpink, like you said, are making the rounds in the US,
Mhm.
it'll kind of boomerang back here in terms of like getting a bigger foothold, and not that they don't have one, but like in Thailand or in New Zealand,
Yeah.
right? JYP did this with, who was it, like?
Wonder Girls.
Wonder Girls, but also 2PM, the
Yeah.
Nickun,
Yeah.
right? And then I think you guys mentioned, I was like, oh wait, what was the shoot, the guy group? I'm just like losing the name, like.
BTS?
No, back in the day, there were like 12 members.
Super Junior.
Super Junior, right? As well. So, like, over the years, there's been a sprinkling of, was it multicultural, multi-ethnic members in the groups, right? And granted, there were some popularity at the time. I think it's just timing-wise, right? Right now, it's just, right there, it just hit that timing, right?
Well,
I think it's English, though.
Exactly what said. It's the English. It's because when they had those other culture, like they said, they had a Japanese girl, they had a Chinese girl, or they had whatever. It's like that was only for that market.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's like Nikun is like from the Thai market, but like for Blackpink, yeah, she's Thai, but that's not the big deal. It's like they all speak English.
No, but if you took those English speakers, like, again, like, just backtrack to, say, when I was around like 2008 to 2011-ish, right? In the States, trying to push and promote Korean entertainment, right? And you can even, pull that up to 2012, 13 or so. Having English-speaking K-popers, would that have put them on Good Morning America, The Colbert Show,
Well, obviously
Billboard?
it's bigger now. So, but like, let's say at this height of K-pop,
Yeah.
if Blackpink couldn't speak English,
True.
they probably wouldn't have been on that show either.
No, I totally
think,
get that.
I think Big Bang could have done
Oh, for sure.
way
If
better.
they spoke English.
I think they could have been on
Yeah.
Good Morning America.
But
if they
their
spoke English.
market was like speaking Japanese and
Yeah.
speaking
Right.
Chinese. It's Asia.
So but I'm also saying it's not just English. I think timing-wise is a factor of they're riding the wave of a lot of things that happened before them to usher in
Oh, yeah.
that receptivity, right?
But I mean,
And-
K-pop's just exponentially gotten bigger,
Yeah.
right? So there's no wave of like, oh, it's like dying and then it gets a little bit bigger and it gets. I think it's always just.
It's
gotten
been
bigger.
increasing.
Yeah. So, I think to your point, it is. Yeah. If you speak English and you just keep waiting, obviously it's gonna.
But
take
also,
off.
like, it's the product itself. The songs have to be good, right?
But I think exponentially the songs have gotten better too
Yeah.
because they're bringing in English, like they're bringing in
producers, choreographers.
writers that are from America too.
So that's my thing. When I'm saying timing, it's not just a language thing. The language definitely helps to break into America, but I mean,
Language
like,
is a must.
I
feel
think
like.
it's a must, yeah.
No,
100%.
I agree too, but I'm not saying that's, in my mind, it's also the quality of the product, the exposure level, right? English kind of feeding into that exposure level, right? But having been in that scene back in the day, without this rising tide, you could have 4 out of 4 members speak English. They wouldn't have gotten on Good Morning America. They wouldn't have gotten on like Kiss FM in LA.
Well, I think Wonder Girls could have done. Maybe they could have done that if any
They were
of them
trying
spoke
to. They
English.
even got on tour with the Jonas Brothers. They were on a summer tour with the
English.
Jonas
Yeah,
Brothers.
but like Crayon
and-
Pop was on a tour with Lady Gaga. Like
Who?
Crayon Pop,
Really?
they were on tour with Lady Gaga. Maybe I mean, so just because you're on tour with somebody, it could be a gimmick thing. You know, it doesn't have to be like any. It doesn't really mean
Just-
much.
Just speaking English is just.
That's what I'm saying. It's,
It's
like
just
it's
you
huge.
have to. It's a must. It's like essential. You can't communicate with the world because
Yeah.
it is like the language, like
Like if they were to
I mean,
whiteboard,
Europe and wherever,
everyone
yeah.
everyone speaks English. Like I mean,
if they
I'm
were
sure
to
most people-
whiteboard like what K-pop was gonna become, and they're like, hey, this is our global strategy for the next 30 years. Like I think that it was like, okay, let's get big in Korea. Let's start hitting Japan. Let's start going into Southeast Asia because there's a lot of people. There may not be as much money, but there's a lot of people there. And it's like, okay, let's start expanding into the English-speaking territories. It's definitely in that whatever final phase of like expanding globally. Because you have like these people becoming actors now in Hollywood movies. So
Yeah.
it's like slowly the K-pop and the Korean media, like the movies, you're breaking into Hollywood. It's still probably like another 10 years away, in my opinion, where it's like it's gonna be household and everybody knows them.
Mainstream.
Yeah, mainstream. But yeah, like English wasn't gonna be necessary in phase 1, 2,
Right.
where you're just hitting Japan. Phase 3, 4, when you're hitting Southeast Asia, now it becomes kind of important. So at that point, you just need that one Thai girl. You just need that one Chinese girl, one Japanese girl. And then now it's like, if you're in the final phase of global awareness, it's like everybody needs to speak English.
True.
You know, like that's the way I look at if they were to, you know, globally or game plan it, I think.
I mean, going forward, yeah, English is a must, and they're going to have more members who are going to be bicultural, bilingual, right? I mean, we're seeing that just recently, only up until a few months ago, I was going to help produce an original with one of these bands. I'm not going to name it. They're huge. They're huge, and these are one of the bands that are the groups that are actually making good momentum in the U.S. They can't speak English very well, but they're still kicking ass in the U.S., right? So I'm saying like English and the language factor is definitely a part of it, and it's going to escalate the whole kind of genre, like globally.
Are they learning English though?
Yeah, they're all learning English, but it's not like I don't know how much of their day they're committing to doing that. They do speak, but it's not enough to like say for us like to produce that show. It was like, oh, I want more English in that, and the people who were kind of like close to the band was like, their English level is like this, right?
What are they really doing if they're not learning? If they're not putting 100% into learning English? If
I mean,
they're
their
looking for
schedules-
that global.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys are right. The language factor is definitely key, because if you can have that interaction, that interplay with the media, with the fans, and wherever you go in English, right? You're gonna like relate. But I think that relating aspect has already started to happen just through like the media of like Instagram or like, you know, V Live, the music, you know, like fans who don't, they learn the Korean lyrics, right? Fans who don't really know how to speak Korean, the first Korean words that they learn are actually the lyrics of like BTS or Monsta X or, you know, Blackpink or whatever, right? And I think fans, if you know, right now they're okay with the translations, right? Because they're fans. But to you guys' point, to get to that next level where it is mainstream, you're gonna have to.
It's the most.
Yeah, and I think the word fans is the people that are singing along with the Korean lyrics,
Mhm.
English speakers. You know, they're the outlier fans. Like
Yeah.
that's not the normal. That's not normal.
That's not the mainstream.
Yeah, like-
yeah.
like you're not learning. You like let's say you like.
Like the hardcore fans.
Yeah, like they're super hardcore. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I like Enrique Iglesias, like, but I'm not like
Yeah. I'm not
speaking
learning
Spanish to sing his song.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm just gonna be humming it.
Right.
If I know it, you know. So it's like, but dude, that guy's gotta speak English. Like we gotta have that connection.
Yeah.
Right.
I've
You-
never
show your
liked
personality.
somebody, or I've never like
Right.
connected with anyone who doesn't speak either Korean or English.
Yeah,
You know, like
I
BTS.
don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck they're saying.
yeah.
In LA, I forget like when it was. Last year, sometime I was driving, and the pop station there, Kiss, they were playing the song, and then like all of a sudden, I'm hearing Korean, right, on the radio, And I wasn't even thinking of what music, it was just kind of background music in the car. I was like, wait a second, what is this? I thought I had a Korean channel or something, right? I made a mistake. But it was the top 40 station, and it was BTS. But their song was in Korean, right?
In LA.
In LA.
Yeah, but I think LA is also another outlier where you have so many like Korean people that you could drive in K-Town and not see any English written on it like a wall, you know?
That's true.
It's
You
Korean.
could live there without speaking
You can,
English.
yeah, easily.
Yeah, but I mean, KISS FM's footprint is for English speakers, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I mean, that's like one of the biggest radios, if not the biggest top 40, channel or station in LA.
I don't know, if I'm making a K-pop group right now, they're like,
yeah. Let's make a K-pop group right now.
then they're learning English.
How many people would you have, guy or girl? Mixed?
Mix. I would
No,
I would never.
I
do
would
mixed.
never.
I would
Dude,
never
there's
do
more and more mix.
That
mixed. I would never. It would be such a headache for you.
Yeah.
I
I
would
think
never-
I think the
oh, yeah.
reason Blackpink, I really think they'll take off is because, first of all, when they go to the States, like if it was a boy group, they would receive so much more hate because
Oh yeah.
all the guys, American guys, just
Yeah.
think about like your typical American
look
guy,
at that-
looking at they're like, what
What
the
is
fuck
this-
is going on? I
this
don't want
guy's
this shit
got-
on my TV.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't want to watch this on late night, like
Yeah.
on the Colbert Show,
Yeah.
on Conan. Like I don't want to be like,
Just like I was saying, my introduction to
Yeah.
K-pop was
Yeah,
girls.
exactly.
It's easier to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I could get into this.
Yeah, it's easier to be as like a typical American male to be like, oh, like I guess this is like what's going on in Asia. Like I guess it looks Asian. It's
Yeah.
an Asian thing.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, okay, but yeah, they're girls.
Music's not bad.
4 girls.
Yeah.
I
love
dig
this.
this. And then as an American girl, you'll be like, okay, I understand this is what's going on. A lot of American girls even already like K-pop.
Mhm.
So I feel like the girls have definitely a more chance.
Advantage.
Yeah, they do have an
I
advantage.
agree.
And,
Do you like the music?
Blackpink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to make a group right now,
Dun,
it would be I would do the same. I would pick a girl group.
Yeah.
Would you pick?
Yeah.
Do you think
all of
Korea is
them have-
ready for like biracial artists? Like, I still think it's like
biracial artists?
like half black, half Korean, half white, half Korean.
Yeah, there's one in Momoland
Yeah,
that's
Right.
white.
right.
And,
White and Korean, right?
Yeah.
So, but do you think they're more like like average Korean fan is more receptive to, and I know it's changing now, but like more receptive to a biracial kid, like Korean mix, or just someone from another country that speaks Korean really well? So like a Japanese girl that speaks Korean really well, or a Thai girl that speaks Korean really well, or a half black, half
You
Korean.
know what the
girl.
harsh truth is? It would depend on what she looked like.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's true.
It's just appearance.
But that's the thing is because white skin is still like very
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's appealing.
Yeah.
If you have a mix of like a darker skin with a Korean
Mhm.
versus a white
Yeah.
and a Korean, it would definitely be
It would-
leaning towards in Korea
yeah.
at least.
If she's
If they're
she's pretty,
attractive, yeah.
If they're attractive, then they'll be like, oh, like 역시 혼혈, which
Yeah,
means
yeah,
like
yeah.
oh, like mixed race.
Yeah.
And then if she's not attractive, they'll be like, ah.
That's why like it's interesting for like in hip hop, it's like you see Jesse and it's like, yo, you should be darker as in my opinion.
Mm.
It's like in Korean standards, it's like, oh, if you're gonna be doing hip hop, you have to look like Jesse. You gotta be like dark skinned,
Right, right.
big hoop earrings, like
Yeah.
look the part.
Right, right.
If she looked like any of the members in any of these girl groups, they'd be like,
Oh,
"No, I
right,
can't
right.
believe this girl's rapping like this dirty language. Like, yeah, get out of here." So it's like the genre you have to fit with
The image.
the image, yeah,
Somewhat.
yeah. So if I were to make a girl group, it would definitely be or a group. It would be a girl group.
They speak English.
They speak English. I mean, like not speak English, but like just like Blackpink, grow up in another country.
Right. Right.
Like
I would
be-
want like one from like America, one from
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
London, and one from South Africa.
Have some accents in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
A
Hell
little
yeah.
bit exotic.
So
And,
would you have the rapper?
I think
I guess it would depend on what
You
kind of
have to.
music I would make for them.
Well, it's K-pop. Like say it's just the general kind of garden variety.
Yeah. If
K-pop.
if any of them can do as well as as Jenny's doing for Blackpink, then yeah, then we'll, and Jenny and Lisa are doing for Blackpink, then we can have a rapper.
Yeah.
But if they can't perform like that, then
Just
then
not
no.
even touch it.
Then we won't even add rap as in
Yeah.
the song.
I also think dance, man, like sometimes I see like, you know, there's a dancer in the group, like that's
Yeah,
their specialty. You know, for the dance breaks they're in the middle.
Right.
Dude, when you see like, cause they're like professional dancers.
Yeah.
And like when you see them dance, you're like, dude, that's pretty good. Like, incredible dancing is also very appealing too,
Mhm.
because the visuals of
Mhm.
it's important to have the vocalist. It's important to have like a visual person, but also like someone that can like break dance or like
Mhm.
dance really well.
Right.
So it's
You know what's crazy? Like all these, you know, like the dancers,
yeah.
they're like really good, but like on Instagram or anything, wherever I see them practice dancing, like all these K-pop artists
Yeah.
that who are supposed to be like good dancers, and they are, but whenever they're practicing with like a real dancer,
Yeah. You can
dude,
tell.
you can tell,
the
like,
speed,
yeah.
the precision, like the power.
Yeah,
The
it's just
dancers,
like,
you're
oh shit,
whoa.
like
Yeah.
she's just being out danced right
Yeah.
now. It's crazy. So that's how good these dancers
Yeah.
are.
So it makes me wonder, like, you know, like these K-pop people can transition into becoming an actor later,
Yeah.
but you never see an actor being like, "Yo, I'm gonna give a shot as a
Oh yeah.
as a musician." Like maybe every once in a while.
Yeah.
So do you think
But even
acting
just,
is
like,
just like that
just
much
singing.
easier? Because I guess you can do takes.
You can do
And-
takes, but it's also like stage acting is probably the hardest, right?
Yeah, yeah. Stage acting's different.
But
Like movie acting and like TV acting, I feel like you
Or
could.
stage acting, like plays and
Yeah,
musicals.
plays,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
live,
yeah.
live.
A lot of like
Right,
musicians do like
Musicals,
and
right.
they're
Right.
pretty incredible in that.
Right.
Like,
I guess because like being an actor, if you're like already like a good looking or like a pretty like
They'll
K-pop
work with
idol
you,
or something,
yeah.
then you can, I guess you can to somewhat learn acting, right? And you might not be like the best actor, but like people will already have like, be like, okay, like, you know, she's not an actor.
Yeah, as long as the role isn't challenging. Because if you think
Right.
about it, like every day we are
Yeah.
acting ourselves.
Exactly.
So it can't be hard.
Right.
But not every day am I dancing and
Right.
singing on my
Right.
way to somewhere
Right.
and crafting
Yeah.
that.
And music is something like where people like they'll expose you. They're
Right.
just like, you know, I'm not gonna listen to this. Like I don't care how
Yeah, yeah.
good of an actor you are. I'm
And
not
with
gonna-
acting, like your co-actor can really bring you
Yeah,
up as
right,
well.
right,
It's
right.
like that guy standing in front of you that's like
Yeah.
really good at acting. You're
Right.
like, yo, man, you're making me look good.
Yeah.
Because I could be like, I hate you.
Yeah.
And if that guy starts bawling, you're like, oh,
Can't
shoot,
be
that worked.
happy.
yeah.
No, I'm Gucci.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's the case, like, even in the West, right? You have singers who transition to acting. I don't know too many actors who try their hand at singing and do really well.
Who
Hmm.
who's like singing,
Well, I mean,
transitioning into acting?
well, recently it was like Lady
Well,
Gaga.
Common?
Oh, that's
Right.
true. She
Common,
did a great
Drake.
job.
Yeah, you know,
Drake's actually a pretty good actor.
Mhm.
well, Drake was.
Well, I guess he went the other way around.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, actually, yeah, he did go
he
the
went
other way around.
bro.
No, but,
Yeah.
but wasn't Drake part of?
Degrassi High.
Yeah. So he was an actor.
He
He was
an
an
before.
actor first.
Because I want to say like the Mickey Mouse Club that spun out a lot of, but they were like musical. It was like a musical / little skits, but that was like Britney Spears, Timberlake, right? J-Lo, I don't know if, because
She was dancer first, right?
she was a dancer first, but she got her big break with Selena, like back in the day, and it was that biography of Selena, but that required some singing. So she actually sang, and the song in that movie actually kind of charted on the charts. But yeah, you see more kind of singers becoming actors there.
Yeah,
so-
that's true.
So maybe yeah, I mean you guys
I
have
guess
certain
it's-
points there.
Harder
And
to.
you have athletes becoming actors. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's true too. in
So
the
acting
States.
that easy, man.
Oh shit. Is
maybe,
it?
maybe who should become actors?
I definitely can't though.
Yeah.
Wait, so Chris, who's your band these days for K-pop?
I don't like listen to, like I told you before, I'm not like super influenced by like music. If it's just playing, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't like seek out certain songs. Like I don't need
Momoland,
music.
bro. Momoland.
Yeah, they're pretty good, like singers. Yeah,
I like their.
yeah.
They're a little different.
They're different.
Yeah.
I think they,
Their songs are a
whatever
little different.
group, even their appearance is
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They did a good job, like kind of timing them,
Uh-huh.
and I think fans like them because they're not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cookie cutter.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you
And they're
think
talented, obviously.
K-pop can use some variety? Like Momo, I mean, like
God.
Momoland being a
Yes.
bit different.
Yes, I need more variety.
Right.
I'm all for K-pop, you know, because they have done so well and they are doing great things for the country. But I'm tired of seeing.
The same cookie cutter, right?
I don't watch Inkigayo anymore because
Yeah.
it's all idols.
Yeah.
I don't. They've done great things for the country, but also for the music industry here, I feel like they've done, just, it's because they've done so well.
It hinders it.
It does
Yeah,
hinder it
yeah.
because, you know, we don't see.
It's a
I
formula.
can't see like Kim Goma perform anymore.
Right.
I can't
right.
see like
Yeah.
you know all these other types of artists that I want to see.
Yeah.
I can't. They don't have a platform because
They don't
nobody
have a
wants to
platform.
see that.
Yo, let's
anymore.
make a platform where we
right.
bring up these has-beens.
Yeah,
But I guess that's what
Kim
like
Goma
Masked
was the
Singer
shit.
is.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
let's hide their
exactly.
face because
Yeah.
they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But they still have talent.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's actually a show I'm trying to produce. That's
Masked
one of-
Singer?
No, not Masked Singer, but kind of like giving a platform for artists who don't have the platform anymore,
Yeah,
but they're totally talented.
exactly.
And everything I kind of mentioned in the early days of K-pop, and not just my personal nostalgia factor, but it's just like these are talented folks who can actually benefit from, like, both consumers and
Yeah.
artists alike.
For sure.
But yeah, that's something that
I think we gotta wrap up today,
I'm
right?
working on.
But I feel like we could talk about this.
Well, part
Probably
two is
another- yeah,
later,
part
some
two.
other time, right?
Yeah, maybe next week.
Yeah, we'll keep like we're doing this on live stream on YouTube, right?
Oh shit. Is
So
that a
stop.
screen freeze?
And then so yeah, we'll keep. If you guys are watching the live stream, you can ask questions, and we'll try to pick a few that are relatable. And, you guys can help us kind of guide us with the good questions. Keep them coming.